Hello, 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 everyone. Hey, Christina. Welcome to Clean Greens Living, broadcasted here live on Rainier Avenue Radio. It is your host, Queen Bri and Christina Chambers in the mix. What's going on, Christina?
All right, turn the lights off.
You said what?
Tired, out of breath.
Look, let me do a land acknowledgement while you catch up with your breath.
Thank you.
Would that be helpful?
Yes, please.
We acknowledge that we are on the traditional land of the first people of Seattle, the Coast Salish past and present, and we honor with gratitude the land itself and the Duwamish, Suquamish, Nisqually, Snoqualmie, and Muckleshoot tribes. We also acknowledge what has happened on this land to impact the lives of the Black community in Seattle due to redlining, the systematic and oppressive mechanisms of anti-Blackness enacted by white leaders, politicians, business people, and has robbed Black families of their opportunity to build and pass down generational wealth. If you are a family that has been impacted by redlining in the Seattle area, please contact blackdollardays.taskforce.org and share your story with us. All right. Welcome to this beautiful Tuesday. I want to give a beautiful shout out to my husband. Today is our anniversary.
Happy
It's our anniversary. Okay. So yay. Okay, so it's winter, y'all. It doesn't look like we're gonna get snow. Oh darn. But we are getting rain.
They're saying no snow?
I heard no snow. What do you think? You've been out there in the trenches. Tell me what you think.
I think we should ask our specialist here today. He's been in the woods.
Yeah, he's been in the woods for years. He know, like he could feel. I wonder if he could feel it in his bones. Like we're gonna get snow. All right, so let's welcome. We don't have any announcement. You know what? The only announcement I want to say is, Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas, everyone. I pray that you're not stressing yourselves out and that you recognize what's most important is that you are with your family and that you have what you have. So just try to lean into being grateful for what you have and not stressing about the Christmas blues and stressing about getting all them presents. All right. Okay. That's the only announcement I have. All right. Is Tom in the house? Is Tommy in the house?
I'm in the house.
Hey, welcome on the best farmer in the land, Farmer Tommy.
I don't know about all that, but
well, you are in our eyes. We took a vote, and that's what we agree. You're the best.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, very nice of you.
How's it going, Tommy? How are you?
Oh, I'm pretty good. Pretty good.
Good.
We are recuperating from the floods last week, so everything's going good now, though.
That's good. Is it still out there flooding, or is it drying up a little bit?
It's drying up now. It took a while for it to go down, but now it's down to where we can at least operate within what's left.
Good. So for those of you who do not know, we work with Clean Greens Farmer Market, which is a local nonprofit farm here in Seattle. Tom is our farmer, and then Christina is our assistant farmer, and then I'm the director. And right now we are way at the end of our season. So we've been talking to our audience about like, what does it look like to put your farm to bed or your gardens to bed for the winter? And we thought, why not bring you on and share your expertise? Because you know a little bit more than what we know. We gave them a little bit of what we knew, but we wanted to talk about what the professional knew. So, Christina, you want to kick it off with a question? Because I know you were excited about asking questions, or do you want me to?
Yes. Ooh, let me think of a good one. What is occurring during the winter in the plants, such as collard greens, that overwinter? What's occurring with them? Like, what's occurring? Like, how do they last through the winter? Are overwintering collards and plants like that?
Oh, well, what you got to do is you got to make sure that you have that depends on how big your plot is. If it's a big farm, it's going to take a lot to do this. But if it's a small family garden or community garden, you got to make sure that you have enough mulch on the ground to continue the mulch helps out in several ways. You actually get a little bit of warmth from it, and then it gives a protection to the roots. So first of all, you want to make sure you got your mulch, and then you want to make sure that it all depends on your plants. If your plants are mature, then it's an easier process. But if they're young plants, they're going to need more work. So we're gonna make sure we're gonna start out with a mulch, and then we're gonna make sure that you have enough nutrients in the ground for your plants to survive over the winter. They go dormant. They don't eat very much, but they still need so much to stay alive.
All right. So we use some big words for people who are just new to garden and farming, because we said dormant, and then you said overwinterize. So for people who are trying to do a garden and it's winter time, so what you're saying is the greens can last through the winter as long as we are feeding it mulch and keeping the roots warm.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're very fortunate to be in this. Is called it's a marine. It's here in the Northwest. We're very fortunate enough to be where we can have a garden all winter long if you've got the right produce. Your brassicas, that's your collard greens, your broccoli and things of that sort will do very well here in the Northwest. And some of the other regions, they freeze out. But you can actually have a garden all winter long here in the Northwest and Seattle area. So,
nice.
Yeah, so, but there's still a lot of prep work that has to go along with that.
What are some of the prep work? I know we can't do the whole list, but like, what are some of the things that people can start to do?
Well, what I aforementioned that, the groundwork has to be done. The mulching has to be done. And just basically that type of stuff.
Like the hay, putting down the hay
for
the gardens?
You can use, hay is a good mulch. You use hay, and you can use, I like to use the plant itself. It's a good mulch. The leaves, strip the leaves back and put the plants on the ground. Does a real good job. And then
nice.
Your leaves will deteriorate and become nutrients to the plant.
So it's really about making sure your soil, we guys hear this, we talked about this a lot, is making sure your soil is healthy. When you put down the mulch, would you put down the cover crops as well, or is it one or the other?
Well, you can use both. Cover crops are great. Cover crops they're very good. Cover crops are a little bit more expensive if you want to go that way, but you can use. I like to use rye. I use a winter rye as a cover crop, but in the summertime I use buckwheat. That's another good cover crop, and it's full of nutrients. Buckwheat, in the springtime, it releases throughout the springtime. Very good.
So you can
nice.
eat it.
But yeah.
I mean, I know buckwheat is a grain,
right,
in a processed form, but are there other ways to eat the plant?
You can eat you put buckwheat in salads too. The
leaves.
Yeah, the leaves.
Okay.
Nice.
Is that one that we planted? One of our cover crops?
No, I think you guys planted
Crimson clover.
I think you planted red clover and you planted white clover, and I think you did a pea,
pea.
An Australian pea. That's a good one.
Okay.
Nice. And I know the greens, I've noticed the greens do last throughout the winter out on the farm. I don't know how well, I mean, I just vaguely looked. We didn't go picking them, but I just noticed the greens and like you said, the greens, the kale did really well throughout the winter. So,
yeah. What happens is they don't really grow. They don't really reproduce, but what they do is they maintain. Once it reaches a mature stage, it's good throughout the winter, and you can harvest that throughout the winter. Yesterday I harvested some cabbage, and I'm really surprised how well they look and how they're maintaining.
Nice. So what are some other things that people can grow? So I know you said we can grow our brassicas. Is there other things people can grow still throughout the winter?
Oh,
besides brassicas?
Yeah. There's several types of lettuce that you can grow. When you purchase it, you want to make sure that you got the type that will last in the cool of the year. So there's lettuce, and there's what are some of the stuff, Christina, that we have that's other than brassicas?
We have herbs.
Yeah.
That are doing really well, like Italian flat leaf parsley. And actually, I was just thinking that did I harvest some with the root? And I cut the top and then I stuck the root in one of my houseplants in the window, and it's growing good.
Oh yeah.
Nice. Nice.
You can always do beets and carrots. They last all winter long. You can harvest those all winter.
Oh yeah.
Oh, we should have put some more carrots down, because ours was a little scrunched up this year because what you said, the soil was too compacted over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carrots like sandy soil. They want to go straight down. It's a taproot vegetable. And yeah, that soil was compacted.
Well, yeah, the soil was compacted, but what we could have done is started from seed. Remember, we planted. They brought some transplants.
Yeah.
And there was carrots in there.
Yeah, but the kids, the youth farm, we put in seeds.
And they were crunched
those
too.
Carrot seeds?
Yeah. No, those did better.
Yeah.
So yeah, you're right. You're right.
Yeah. When carrot, it's a root. And so when you put it in the ground, the transplant, when you put it in the ground, then you compact soil around it. Well, it'll bend that root. That root will bend. And so you'll get like curly carrots or, some funny looking stuff. And
Carrots with your legs crossed.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Carrots with their legs crossed. Yeah.
Speaking of, when we talk about transplanting versus seeds, how do you know what to put in just seed wise, or how do you decide what to seed and what to just grow from the ground? Does that make sense? Not seed. What do we seed starter? So Tommy does this thing where he does seed starting at the beginning of the year, and then we go in and we drop them down into the ground. But then there's some things that you just put in the ground from seed. So how do you know which is the difference?
Well, there's some things that do a lot better with a direct sow. That's what you're saying.
Yeah.
And there's some things that do better at direct sow, and there's some things that'll do a lot better with transplants, especially in the early spring and when the weather's cool. If you plant in the greenhouse, then you plant into a pot, and with along with your soil mix and everything, and then it continues to grow. Now you're going to get 2 to 3 weeks, or sometime a month, advance over the direct sow. Sometimes you can go with the transplant, and then you can direct sow behind that. So there's there's
that's doing what's it called? Succession planting.
Right. Rotation.
Mm-hmm.
You want to talk about what succession planting is for those who don't know what succession planting is?
Go ahead.
Tommy or Christina? Yeah. Christina, you know a little something. Christina be trying to act like she don't be knowing nothing about farming, girl.
Christina is a very good farmer.
I bet he's gonna say something. No, Tommy, you talk about it.
Yeah, I just left the community garden up there, and it looks really well. I told her that I was really proud of what she's doing up there.
Nice.
But succession, that's a rotation. You got your plants mature and they reach a mature stage, and they won't do anything more when they reach that stage. They'll sort of maintain, but you want to continue because you want a continuous maturing, because your program or whatever you're doing, it you like to continue. You want stuff come on at different times. And so you'd have to plant some one time, 1 week or 2 weeks. Next, you plant the next one. And so one will mature, and then 2 weeks later, your next crop will mature. That way you'll have crops that are maturing throughout the growing season.
Nice. First of all, if you're just tuning in, you're tuning into Clean Greens Living, broadcasted here live on Rainier Avenue Radio. I am your host, Queen Bri and Christina Chambers, and we have our special guest, Farmer Tom, here with us, just talking a little bit about growing throughout the winter and teaching us a little bit about gardening. And I know it sounds like a lot, but the beauty about having you here, Tom, is that you like to teach. When I first met you, I'm not gonna lie, I was a little scared, but he's so sweet and he just wants to teach everybody. He wants everybody to just know the importance of growing and how to grow. So if some of these things are just intimidating to you and you're like, this is too much information and I need to come and to the farm, we always welcome you to come help out and volunteer. And when you're volunteering, you're getting little lessons here and there. I'm a little sad that I keep missing out on the French lessons because Farmer Tom can speak French. But yeah, so if you guys ever like with our talks and you have other follow-up questions, please feel free to reach out. If you're listening, feel free to ask them some questions right now. All right. So Farmer Tom, you've been in forestry and farming for years. How did you get into that? How did you get the love of nature?
Well, it started when I was young. Most people do something that they were familiar with at an early age in life as a career. And I'm not originally from Seattle. I'm from Louisiana. And my grandparents, my ancestors, my great-grandfather was a farmer. And my great-grandfather on the other side was a logger. And so I got hit with a little bit of both. In Louisiana, a lot of the old plantations were planted in trees, and so they were, most folks that were after slavery, they either went into farming or to harvesting those trees that they planted on the plantations that they, rehabilitated. And so I come up in that area where that was going on. And I used to walk around with my grandparents, my great grandfather, and he was a basket weaver, and he did a lot of things. In the area they grew a lot of baskets because cotton was a big industry there, and so they made these baskets for this cotton to be harvested in, and that's what one of the trades of my great grandfather. And I used to walk with him in the woods, and we would strip bark and make these baskets, and he knew all about trees. He was a very smart man. And so I thought, well, maybe that's something I would like to do. So I got into forestry, and and that was that was the beginning of that career. Also, the farming part. He was also a farmer, and so after my career, I worked with the Forest Service for 39 years. After my career with the Forest Service, then I thought, I got to do something. I can't sit home all day. And I knew I wasn't going to do that. And so I thought, well, maybe I'll become a farmer. Yeah, I said, well, my grandfather was a farmer too. And so that's where the farming came in. After I retired from the Forest Service, I used to go to these farmers and just kind of watch what they do, and one of the farms I went to was the Jubilee Farm, and it was one of the bigger organic farms in this area. And so I went there and I took a sort of an apprenticeship. It's actually like a volunteer on steroids because you had to be there every day, And so I took apprenticeship with the farmers at Jubilee, and so I did seeding, and we worked with heat trays, and it was really exciting to me. And I thought, well, this is what I want to do, but it wasn't easy, I tell you. You have to have a love for that.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, it can get pretty boring at times, but not for me. I love it. I love every minute of it, and I like teaching other people what I do and how to do it.
I swear I learn something new every time I talk to you. So you can make baskets?
Well, most of the folks can make baskets. Most of the black people, the ex-slaves, a lot of the slaves were basket makers on the plantation. That was their job. And so after the slave process, it was passed on down to their kids who were quote unquote free. And and they even taught it during the Reconstruction. They used to teach the ex-slaves things like that. And so
as a trade.
Pardon?
As a trade?
As a trade, yes. Because we had to do that to maintain.
And there was a market for it, and they had the skill.
Yeah.
And they just kept it going.
If you notice the folks, the Geechee Gullah people around North Carolina and Georgia and some into Florida, they really took to that skill, and they do really well. And then some of their basket work is identical to some of the basket work in Sierra Leone and some of the countries that they came from. So they came here with those skills.
That's just so like funny. You can say that again. We be talking about how they came over with these skills, farming skills, and all that stuff. They didn't just take people that didn't know what they were doing. Look, you're gonna have to come here and visit us more often because we find something new, and I love that we always get a history lesson when we talk to you, because this is information that like not a lot of people know or understand it. So I thank you for sharing that.
Well, you're very right. A lot of the people thought that some of the slavery was just kind of indiscriminate, but the people in that area were rice growers in Africa. They were recruited because of the skills that they had in growing rice and sweet potatoes and that type of crop. The planters were pretty smart, actually. They knew what their goals were, and they knew where to recruit those folks from. Yeah, the Gullah Geechee culture is very interesting. If you ever get a chance to, dig into some of that,
I am.
And the skills, some of the baskets, if you were able to get a hold of one of those baskets.
Oh, what my dad has one. Oh, he was on a tour or something with the Coast Guard there, and I just recently asked him, did he want to try to take a trip with me? Was he physically able? because I know he knows that area.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, no, I'm not really able, but I want you to give me one of those baskets I got. It's pretty torn up because it's like almost as old as I am, probably.
Yeah.
So they're like artistry. Like we could probably look in a art history book and see the same style basket. You're saying?
So are we making baskets or not this year? That's my question. Are we gonna have a basket making course? And look, I feel like we should have a basket making course and
canning.
Yes, canning and just walking, like you said, walking. Because you said you and your grandfather walked through the woods, walked through the trees, and you guys made your baskets there. And I think not a lot of people understand the love of being out in nature. We think it's like this is grueling, but it really is like this spiritual connection. It just feels good. Like it's hard, like you said, it is hard work, but it's fun. It is fun.
You're right. Not only baskets in my area where I grew up at, they had baskets, of course, but then they had quilting, and then they had several other skills that these African American women passed on, down to their kids. So all that stuff can be incorporated, because when you grow the produce, then you had no way to keep it in those days. You didn't have good refrigeration, and so you had to can it. And that's where they can. And I remember when I was a kid in the fall, there was my great grandmother. You couldn't come through the front door because they had the quilting equipment set up. So as kids, we had to go around back. And so every once in a while we'd forget to go charging through the front door. Boy, you're talking about you would get it, man. But that was still prevalent, when I was a kid. It's prevalent now. You're right. We should get into some of that. There's a group of people here in Seattle now that does that, and we should probably contact with them.
Yes, we definitely should. Oh my God. Okay, that's time. Look, I could talk to you all day, and we will definitely have Farmer Tom back on the show to continue our talks. Happy holidays. Up next is Phil AM. Farmer Tom, can you just kick us off with something French? Can you say something like bye in French or something?
Bonsoir.
Wow.
Bonsoir.
Bye. Bye, guys.